Are you tired of watching shows that only give you general social media theory and expect you to figure out how to apply it to your own industry? Join us for this week's episode of Social Chatter, the industry's longest running social media marketing news talk show. Not only will you learn the latest breaking news, but you'll also gain practical advice on how to apply it. Now here's your host, Christian Karasiewicz.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing news talk show. This is episode 205 with myself, Phil Gerbyshak, and guest Stephanie Liu. Also goes by at Hey Stephanie on, I think, pretty much every social media channel, but she's big into live video. We're excited to have her on as a repeat guest, but I'm going to go ahead and bring on Phil. Phil, how are you doing this week?
What's up, Christian? How the heck are you, buddy? It's great to see you again.
Doing fantastic. You know, we've got quite a lot of topics to talk about this week, but while I'm setting up a couple of things, can you do me a favor? Can you tell viewers, who do we have on this week?
Oh my gosh, we have the amazing, insightful, and always brilliant Stephanie Liu. She's Hey Stephanie Liu everywhere, L-I-U, and she is freaking brilliant when it comes to live video, anything else video related. We are delighted that she's here. She lives out in San Diego. Last time I hoped that I'd get together with her, but next time I go to San Diego, I will look her up because she's so smart and does so much with video. We learn so much from everything that she shares, and this week is going to be no different. Super duper exciting.
Definitely, so I'm going to go and bring on Stephanie. Stephanie, how are you doing?
I'm doing outstanding. How are you fellas doing?
What's up?
What have you been up to, I guess, in the, I don't know how many weeks it's been since we had you on.
It feels like forever, but it's been like 8 weeks. So
I know. Yeah. Well, actually, I was in Henderson, Nevada for a good 3 weeks doing some NLP training. Yeah.
Awesome. So are you gonna Vulcan mind meld with us today? I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. What is it?
8.
No, it's 14. Okay, but really close. Really close. So
First joke of the show.
There
All
you
right.
go. That's it. Yep, already got one. So there you go.
Way to go.
You have like a bell. Ding, ding.
Yeah, ding, ding. Yep. Cheesy Phil at your service right here.
I love it.
So I'm just about ready here, by the way. So
holy cow. Yeah. So Stephanie, so I didn't get a chance to see you last time. I kind of said that in the intro. So next time I come to San Diego, though, I'm up in Rancho Bernardo usually. So is that close to you or is that far away?
It's about a 45-minute drive, but it's totally doable.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we'll make it happen. We'll find a good place. We'll meet in the middle. Maybe we can even convince Jen Herman to come up or something too.
Oh, yes. Of course.
Awesome.
You can't miss out Jen Herman.
No, she was gone last time I was in town anyway. So
that's true.
Yep.
That's true. I feel like we all travel a lot. I mean, why not? Because it's the summer months, and it's funny too, especially when you leave San Diego, because the TSAs will always be like, but why? Do you not like our beaches? Like, why are you flying out of San Diego? And it's like, it's okay. I'll be back.
Yes, absolutely. Totally agree.
So, Phil, where do you want to kick things off at? What do you want
Oh my gosh. Well, we've got so much Facebook news this week. We've got to start with one of them. And the most interesting one to me is Facebook adds a slideshow option to Facebook stories to get more people to use it. So this is interesting, right? I mean, I'm curious to see how this actually works because I don't see a lot of people other than us that are social media marketers that are using stories. So yeah. In fact, I talk to a lot of people. They're like, that's really annoying. I get this notification that you posted something. I can't see it.
Yeah,
okay.
Hey, it lasts what, 24 hours? So
right. Yeah. So it's, and they don't understand the difference between story and timeline. I try to explain it to somebody. After about an hour and a half, I gave up. So I don't know, Stephanie, what do you think? Is this a big deal? Is this no big deal? Or is this just us Facebook marketers just kind of doing a hand jive with each other and dancing their ways?
Hey, we got something new. You know what? I think this is a smart option for those content creators that don't like being on camera, right? I was just doing a mastermind earlier and they were talking about like, I want to do video, but I don't want to be on camera because blah, 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 blah. And I think creating a slideshow makes it so much easier for people to use Facebook stories because you have those content creation tools like your easels or your Canvas and Photoshop and whatnot, where they can make the fancy graphics and then just make that into the slideshow and still take up that real estate that you see at the very top of the news feed. So I think it's an option now for those that just don't want to be on camera.
But is this just checking the box and not really doing anything? I mean, really, video is still video, right? You can't replace video. It's like, I sent you a postcard in the mail, Stephanie. I didn't really see you, but I sent you a postcard. Isn't that the same thing? I mean, come on.
Now I'm like, oh crap, did I miss a postcard?
I got your address actually off the internet, dark web. Truth be told, it cost me almost $1,000. But the good news is we make so much money with Social Chatter that I actually only had to sell one of my kidneys this time.
Oh
so
my goodness!
Right? But seriously, is this much ado about nothing? As far as like, is it really going to get any engagement, or is this just another way to check the box and say I'm doing stories and they still suck?
No, here's the thing. Okay, if you follow any of the chatbot experts like Kelly Noble Marabella, she figured out that you could actually connect your Facebook stories to your Messenger bot. So if you wanted to get really creative, you could use the slideshow functionality to say, if you wanted to learn more or get this lead magnet, then go ahead and leave me a message. And that message will be your trigger keyword into your Messenger bot. So there are some things that you can do with it. Instead of just seeing it as like one thing, start thinking of how you could leverage this feature throughout the whole entire Facebook ecosystem. Because stories isn't just only on your business page, it's on your personal and even on your events and your groups. So think about that.
Ooh, pretty sexy. I don't know, Christian, what are you thinking, buddy?
I think this is a useful feature. I'm glad they're like giving people, ways to build some engaging content. But the problem I have with this is what we talked about earlier, which is I think there needs to be better education on stories for people, who are social media marketers or anybody who's doing any sort of marketing. They already are tapping into some of these features. So they're like, hey, great, I got another way to tell my story. But the average user, the average business, if you're the business owner, you're trying to reach customers, they're not using stories for the most part. So I think there needs to be better education on that, on teaching them how to use stories, for example, just some adjustments, I think.
Well, do you educate though? I mean, really, isn't that the beauty of social media marketing? Like you just figure it out and stories just are not intuitive. I don't understand. Like, I'm serious. Like I struggled hardcore with Instagram stories for a long time, because I totally didn't get that I had to click in the upper left corner on that camera and I couldn't just share from the regular camera. Well, don't you have to make it more intuitive? Forget about teaching me. Don't you just have to make it easier? I don't know. Stephanie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to have some type of onboarding process to kind of show how it's done. I mean, I would say for those of us that are used to social media, we kind of like, okay, this is kind of like XYZ. We have something to compare it to. Right. But if I were to go ahead and show this to an aunt or even my mom, they're like, but why?
Right.
But why?
The wifey model, what's in it for you? Like, why should I be using stories? And I think part of it is, I guess in a way we're like kind of carrying the torch to get people, interested in stories and to get them to use them and, to kind of figure out how they kind of work.
Yeah. If anything, it feels like whenever a platform rolls out a new feature, they're like, here's the feature, but then now let's leave the creativity and the imagination up to the creators and see what they do with it. And then that gives us the opportunity to do that creativity and be like, okay, well, this is what you can do. This is how you can use templates, or these are different ways that you could shoot a story. So it's interesting.
Yeah. But again, to your mom's point, right? Like what's in it for your mom? She's not going to participate with a chat bot unless it's going to give her a free recipe, right? I mean, really, that's just how this is going to work, or pictures of her grandkids or something that she really wants. I mean, right?
Subscribe. Otherwise you won't get any pictures of your granddaughter.
But isn't that the case, though? I mean, truly, my mom, I love my mom. She's 69 years old. There's not a chance in hell my mom is going to type in any word. Now, that being said, right, if you tell her that if she shares it, she wins a free trip on Delta Airlines with Delta spelt wrong, my mom is all over that shit. Like, oh my gosh, right? She's on board with that. If it says that your privacy is being compromised, my mom will share that. She'll share from a puppy dog page about saving the police officers. But the hell if she's going to use a story. So I'm just curious, like, how do we find my mom and your mom, Stephanie, so that they can actually get interested in stories? Like, what do we give them?
Yeah, honestly, my mom wouldn't. It's not a thing for her, because it's also a different mindset, right? Because those of us that use stories love the fact that it's ephemeral, that it's going to disappear in 24 hours, right? Whereas someone like my mom is traditional, like, I want to print out this photo on my phone and put it in an album. And then I'm going to take that photo, I'm going to put it in a frame. And I'm like, I haven't printed out a photo since 5 years ago.
See, that's so interesting because I send my dad is not social savvy, and I send my dad a postogram almost every month that he can pop out, and it's about as big as his flip phone. So he puts it in his pocket, and he's very happy because now he's got something to show off, because while everybody else is popping their iPhone, my dad's popping out real pictures. I don't know, you know? So Christian, I don't know. What about your wife, man? Is your wife social savvy? What's she think?
She's not using stories very much. I'll say that. But, you know, I think overall, I mean, Mike makes a good point here also, by the way. Stories are useful from the perspective of how the content has gone within 24 hours, great for personal pictures. And I think he also mentioned that, let me find this. You don't have to create video to create great content, which is true. So again, I mean, it's a tough thing to get people like on board with stories. I mean, you have kind of, as Stephanie mentioned here, you have, you know, the audience that they're already using stories, or they're already knowing how to like figure this out and saying, hey, I don't need them to give me examples. I'll just figure it out myself and just come up with whatever I think works. And then you have the people that they want the old school method of doing things. So I kind of think I mean, personally, I think Facebook needs a little bit more. I think they need a little bit more, like, from an example standpoint, you know, that they can send people to if they really want stories to catch on. Because the other thing also is the audience that's going to be using stories. If the main users on Facebook are, say, the older demographic, they're not using stories. Yeah. And so Facebook's coming out with this feature that kind of doesn't really mesh with their audience, I think.
Well, it's one more way to get us to spend money as an advertiser. I mean, that's really what this is.
Yeah, impressions, right? Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Put your ads in the stories. Yep. Yeah.
Well, because the timeline is already full of ads. So now I need another way to advertise. You know what I like? I wish Facebook would let me send catalogs in the mail, really thick ones. That would be awesome. Because if I could do that right from Facebook, like every day, I just print my story. It's 870 pages, and that drops in my mom's inbox. I mean, that would be fantastic. I would pay 40 cents for that. I don't know. What do we think, right? I mean, come on. That's what it is. This is just a grab for ad dollars. Christian, I think you're totally right on the content side, like the creator side. The thing is we have to remember, just because you create it doesn't mean they're coming. So we have to think about our consumers, right? What, again, if as Facebook skews older, we're going to see this. Now, if I could save it to my 8-track player, that might play. What do you think? I don't know. Stephanie, you still got an 8-track player or no?
I don't, but my goodness, I love our conversations.
Yeah, right?
The 8-track player might be making a comeback sometime soon. The record player.
Yeah. People are starting to go analog now, so it's all good.
Yeah, there you go. So social media on 8-track player. And Stephanie, again, a number 10 to 15. What number am I thinking?
14.
That's the one. You got it. See, she figured this out. She wins. Clearly, training is working.
So anything else to add, by the way, to the Facebook Stories slideshow option?
What's that? No, nothing for me.
Anybody?
I mean, does it look like, it looks like you do this on mobile, because I haven't seen this on desktop. And it's so weird how sometimes the features come out on mobile and not on desktop.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely. Yeah, it is definitely on mobile. Again, it's also being tested. So it's not to say like, hey, this is definitely going to get rolled out. But you know, again, go to your stories. You'll see this actually at the top. Actually, speaking of, I actually have the slideshow feature. I just checked.
So, you do?
So here, we'll all pose for a picture.
Definitely. So I got.
Come on, take that picture. I'm gonna break. No, that's terrible. So good. So test it out, Christian. Report back, folks. If you want to see a story, make sure you're following Social Chefs and Christian Karasiewicz on Facebook, so you can check these stories out. We're at facebook.com/Social Chefs, and I can't spell Karasiewicz, so just look for Christian. You'll find him. He's got some good stories.
By the way, Mike's also asking, saying, "Hey, where's the laser disc?" So,
Laserdisc. Yep. Well, I actually prefer Super 8, not to be confused with High 8, Mike, which is what all porn was recorded on in 1975. So just saying, because that's where all the innovation comes from. Good. Okay. All right. So next topic.
Hi, Joe. What's next?
Next, Facebook. Facebook approached Netflix and Disney to support a TV chat device. So listen to this. We're seeing that they're going to use the portal technology to create some interesting stuff so that it looks like Apple TV, so that it maybe has Hulu and other stuff on here, so that it's got maybe Cheddar. Fascinating stuff here. I mean, there's a lot a lot of stuff to think about, though. If they get Disney on here, that's a
game changer.
big play, right? Total game
yeah.
changer.
Yeah.
They own X-Men, they own Avengers, they own all the Disney content. Really, really interesting. I don't know, Stephanie, what are you going to do with this? I mean, if they do this, how is this going to change you?
It would give me back my living room and my flat screen TV.
So this would give you a second or third screen instead of having to watch it on your TV.
Well, because here's the thing is that I already have a portal inside the house, and it's the go-to device that my daughter uses to call her grandparents or to call me when I'm out of town. And the cool thing about the portal itself is that it has the smart camera detection, so that if you're moving across the room, the camera follows you. And if more people enter the room, and then it actually pans out to see the whole entire audience. And so that's like her favorite device. And if they added these extra features where she could watch her favorite shows on it, then that becomes her little TV in her playroom.
Awesome. So another babysitting device. Fantastic, because that's what we need. Less parenting, more babysitting. Good stuff.
Hey!
Right? Keep them occupied. I agree. I get it. I think it's good. So Christian, what about you, man? You got 11 or 12 kids, 14 kids. No, you got no kids. So what are you going to do with this device?
I would not buy it, actually.
Oh.
I wouldn't buy it because here's the thing. Every single company is trying to come out with a device for your TV. No one wants to play nice. I don't see Disney at all getting on this device. Unless Disney's in the market to sell more Disney Plus subscriptions that they just came out with. I see basically Disney's going to be pulling their content away from, they're already doing it for Netflix. So why do they want to play with Facebook?
Oh, but I think that's Disney Go.
They don't play with Apple. They don't play with Netflix. So
you nailed it though, brother. Disney Go. That's the play. That's absolutely the play. Yep. Good call. You bring that up. That's the play.
Well, and the other thing I also see here, by the way, is, and let me know what you guys think, but like, I feel there's subscription fatigue here. So another device. And then, it's the race to the bottom. So Disney's going to charge, I think, like $10 a month for their Disney Plus service. Yeah. You're already, I don't know what Netflix is. I think it's $12.99 maybe a month, depending on how many devices. Apple's got their own product, Apple Plus, I think it is. So it's like $9.99 a month. So it's like $30, $40 just on content alone. And that doesn't include internet. That doesn't include cable or any of those other services that people might be using or the devices themselves.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of this, but I think also, you have two different, schools of thought here. Facebook, for example, from a privacy perspective, a lot of people have, Facebook needs to win them back. And I don't think that Disney or Apple or Netflix really kind of run into that issue.
That's interesting.
That's a good point.
Good point, buddy. Good point. So here's my thought on this, though, and I'm curious if, as they start approaching these, if now we might get more independent creators that can get on Netflix and Disney, right? Because perhaps they start porting over Facebook Watch and start melding these. Because I see some really bad karaoke on there. I see some really bad, some comedians that are even less funny than me, which is kind of hard to believe. So, stuff like that, right? I think this is interesting. So perhaps we do see some crossover because Facebook has talked about how they want to get in the content creation business.
Yeah.
So this might be a drug, right, to get people on the portal. And then to your point, Christian, forget about Disney saying no. Perhaps Facebook then says, no, we want 40% to put you on our portal, which that's what Apple did. And if they get critical mass, well, maybe that's interesting. And especially, again, for the independent content creator. Stephanie, I'd watch Stephanie Lou TV at least twice a week if you had it. I'm just saying. Right? Teach me stuff.
As you guys started talking about that, that does give content creators an opportunity to have their own edge, right? Like if Disney isn't going to play into it, then that's obviously why you see on the YouTube channels like the kid shows, like the open boxing, the Ryan shows, all of that stuff, and how they're taking off, and they took advantage of that. So I've already got like a bunch of ideas. I'm like, oh, interesting.
Yeah. Actually, what it makes me think of is why don't, instead of another device, why don't they put, and this is kind of like, they're ripping this play out of Apple's playbook here. So why not actually have Facebook Watch on all the devices instead of coming out with another device?
Oh, I bet they do. I think device, though, device allows you to double your revenue, right? Device gives me 40% of the, I mean, think about my iPhone. There's a reason that Kindle books don't, you can only buy them over your browser and not inside of the app.
The app, yeah.
Because otherwise they'd have to give 40% up, which means then we'd get even less as a creator. So I think this is a very good move on Facebook's part. Now, as a business owner, I think about, what do I have that is interesting enough that people might want to subscribe to? And frankly, maybe I can have some smart partnerships, right? Where I can do some better stuff, because frankly, I don't have time to produce any more than I'm already producing. So maybe this is smart partnership where it's brought to you by instead of with, right? I don't know.
So by the way, I have a couple of YouTube updates as well. Like we kind of playing off this whole generate revenue. So, and these are topics that I know we're not going to really cover tonight, but I just want to kind of tell people about them. One of those is a feature that YouTube's testing. It's called Fundo. And it's basically a way for people to pay for essentially a virtual meet and greet with an influencer on YouTube. So I'm just thinking here, because this is kind of tying into this whole Facebook device. So that's one update. And there's also another one where they're working on member-only videos as well. So again, YouTube, ways to monetize your YouTube channel. I could see Facebook borrowing quite a few of these things if they could get on some of these devices, or maybe they have their own.
And Facebook doesn't borrow. Let's be really clear. They just steal. It's clear, right? They stole from Snapchat. They're going to steal from YouTube, and they should, right? Why innovate when you can imitate? Way better, right? You don't have to be first mover. Think about it. Facebook Live is freaking Blab, right? They're smart. They're smart. They let Blab waste $500 million. Fantastic, right? That's good. Very smart move. I say that full respect to Zuckerberg and the team. I think that's really smart.
Yeah.
So, by the way, speaking of just Facebook approaching obviously Netflix and Disney here for like a TV chat device, do you how much of your content do you already consume on your TV, for example, or do you consume hardly anything on your TV? Stephanie, what about you?
Not much, honestly. Don't really watch much TV, especially when you live in San Diego. It's like I try to get out as much as possible. And the only time that I'm actually really am online is if I have a purpose for it. Like I need to learn something, or if I need to unwind, it's probably going to be a Korean drama. That's just it.
A what?
A Korean drama, K-dramas.
Drama. Gotcha. Okay.
So Phil, What about you? Are you currently using your TV or some of the smart features of your TV?
Yeah. So I've used, I've watched some Netflix. I have to tell you though, I travel so much that I don't watch almost any TV. But I got to tell you though, I am on my phone all day. Like I look at my thing. I'm 12 hours a day.
Wow.
Many days on my phone, doing stuff. I mean, even I can sit in my office and I'm still using my phone to send email, right? Unless it's super long, it's just comfortable. I mean, I can type just as fast.
Oh, interesting.
So for me, no TV, and I've got a beautiful MacBook Pro, brand new MacBook Pro, barely use it, right? I use my phone now. That being said, right, I do use the TV to print slides to present with. I absolutely use the TV to connect to Apple TV if I'm going to bring up videos.
Okay.
Absolutely, but I don't use it as a TV. In fact, I'm moving next week. That's why I can't be on the show next week, Christian, because I'm moving. I won't have any internet for a whole day. Right. So, and I'm not getting cable, and I'm only getting my TV again as a big monitor. That's how I'm hooking it up. I'm going to hook up I've got a 55-inch monitor that's going to have nothing connected to it. That's what I'm going to use it for, so that I can do more creative work, so that I can edit videos and do stuff like that right on my machine. Or I can do it again if I go Apple TV. I can Apple TV it, and now I've got again a 55-inch monitor with my favorite tool ever, my iPhone.
And by the way, I'll give you guys my quick opinion on this.
Yeah.
And we're going to also bring in Tim Son he also made a comment as well. But I personally don't watch a lot of TV myself. A lot of things are either done on mobile or, they're, just way after the fact, after I've kind of gotten all my work done. So I don't watch a lot of TV. Tim here, he says, hey, his family mainly watches Netflix. They have DirecTV, but they barely use it. So obviously we know a lot of people are moving towards cord cutting. But I think this will be an interesting play if Facebook can get this to work, because, at one point they tried to come out with a mobile phone that was very Facebook focused. That didn't really work. They kind of pulled back with that. Yes, you remember that one. Yes.
I was like, wait a second, that was kind of like a flash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was bad as Amazon's phone, right? I mean, that was junk as well.
So
but it was just too soon. There was no content to consume, right? I mean, that was before Amazon Prime TV. That was before Facebook Watch. That's the thing. Now we're at the point where perhaps, they could go head to head. I mean, Google Fi, right? The Google program. I've got friends of mine. That's their phone. It's a third of the price of the big players.
Yeah.
And the phones are just as good. Well, that's fascinating to me, because I would love to pay less for my phone, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and also, by the way, one last thing at one point I want to make real quick on this, by the way. So it also kind of reminds me a little bit of, I'm going to use Apple as an example here. So Apple has a play of, hey, they sell devices to get you to consume content. Obviously, they have HomePod. They've got the Apple TV. Now, obviously, those are, some physical devices. Let's look at Facebook here. Facebook has what? They have Facebook Portal. Hey, that's actually working very well. And in a way, this is also kind of getting them into the living room a lot more. If they could come out with, for example, some sort of device that plugs into your TV. Hey, you could go from Portal directly to the TV, maybe. Maybe there's some casting feature there. I'm just thinking here.
So, yeah.
Eventually down the line. Yeah, because I remember at Facebook FA earlier this year, they were talking about bringing live video over to the portal.
Which only makes sense, right? I mean, that's the play, I think. That's the play. And then if it broadcasts only in stories, which is the direction that they're headed, now it's expired video. Now you and I have a conversation, Stephanie, and in 24 hours, nobody else can see it.
Yep.
I think that's pretty darn cool. And especially if I can then determine which part of my audience gets to see the video.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty stinking cool.
I mean, that was one of the reasons why I bought the portal in the first place was, okay, if live video does come over to the portal, I have clients that are chefs and they want to start making dishes in front of the kitchen and do all of that stuff. And instead of having this whole entire production crew there to film them and have multiple cameras, the portal itself would just follow the chef wherever she goes. So that was one of the things I was interested in. And then you could have like a private messenger chat group of your loyal fans that subscribed into it, and they could watch the show from there.
Ooh, Food Network on the portal. I want to talk to Bobby Flay and Ann Burrell. I'm totally with you there. Absolutely.
That'd be cool.
I think there's a lot of potential here, but with that, let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah, well, before we move on to the next topic, we got a lot of topics we could cover today. Christian mentioned a couple with YouTube. We had 8 topics today at least, and a lot more. If you want topics like that and you want to make sure you get them in your inbox, sign up at socialchefs.com/daily. You get our daily email. It's good stuff. Just 1 or 2 topics each and every day. That's socialchefs.com/daily for all your goodness and all the goodness we don't get to cover today with our brilliant friend, Stephanie Liu.
So where are we going next?
We're going crazy. Oh, wait, no, we're already there. So how about Facebook News, which is really interesting. Facebook is in talks with news outlets for a dedicated news section on his platform. And I think while this is big, I think the repercussions of this and the possibility that now we could have less major news outlets. And now how do you get on there? How do you syndicate this? Now this takes things to a whole another level because so many people already use Facebook as news.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's brilliant. I don't know. Stephanie, what do you think?
I mean, there's so many different things that Facebook is trying to do to show which news sites are credible, right? Like if you notice, if someone shares a link from the Washington Post, you'll see this little info icon. You could find out how long it's been in publication. So I think this is something that most people would be interested in. I would also say that I think Facebook definitely needs to step up their game and validate which news organizations should appear in there. Like what's the criteria for that? How do they take down content? And how do I, as a user, customize this for the news that I do want, like my local news, what's happening in San Diego, and so on.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that Bob Saget will come back on TV because, he was really good out in San Francisco for a while. I'm hoping he'll do Wake Up San Diego. What do you think? Or maybe Ron Burgundy? Those are my news. No? So what do you think? Christian, what about you, buddy?
Yeah.
I think the key plays here are going to be Facebook's going to have to work with, and this will be an interesting play, I think, in a way. Also, if I'm a TV station and I produce news, for example, Facebook is going to have to get obviously the major players on, but they're also going to need to work with their local news stations as well, to kind of get them where they're kind of not competing in a way with Facebook. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Facebook can say, hey, all the news comes in this certain way. And it reminds me a lot of, you've got Apple News and you've got Google News, it reminds me a lot of that. And the fact that, they basically just allow pretty much anyone in. So there needs to be a more stringent policy on how they verify this information.
Yeah.
And I almost want to say they need to keep the organizations supplying the news. They need to be actually the ones that would suffer if they, were sending in bad information, for example.
Well, that is the problem, though, right? So the problem is who vets the vetters. That's right. Always the question, right? I mean, frankly, hopefully everybody listening to this understands that The Onion and Babylon Bee are satire sites. But I can tell you, I have people in my network that don't think that they are. They think they're real news. And so that's a problem, right? And the problem is then our local news, often they get op-eds, which really means that someone paid the local paper $500 or $1,000 to put an advertising piece of crap on there. I saw one of my friends the other day is all bragging about the fact that he made some paper. And then I look at it and it's clear that it's a paid advertising page. And I'm like, dude, the fact that you paid to advertise in whatever paper is not newsworthy. And I watch all these people, congratulations, you made the big time now. Yeah, for $1,000. Like, that's lame, dude. Or people who buy influence, right? It says at the bottom, all influencers paid to be included on this list. Mm-hmm. It's like, come on. Like, that's not an influencer. That's not a thought leader. That's not really being featured in the local paper. So that's my concern here, is because most people are at most going to they're going to read the headline, they're going to read the paragraph of free stuff, and they're never going to click, which is going to drive newspapers even more out of business. Because they're going to lose even more ad revenue, just like Google Snippet does, where it doesn't take people to the actual website. It answers the question without a click. Now what Rand Fishkin and he reported like 60% of answers are before a click. That's brutal, right? Yeah. I mean, that's killing us as creators, and it's killing small business, because part of the reason that we create content is get people back to our site to sign up for our newsletter so we can advertise to them. Right. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of this, but I know that it has to be done.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I wonder what's going to happen to the news network's original Facebook business page. Are they going to still keep it, or are they now dedicating it all towards this?
In which case, then they don't get to advertise directly because there's no click-through. No click-through means no Google Pixel or Facebook Pixel, no retargeting, which means I never know what you're interested in. And I have to count on Facebook to give me stats. Christian, how are Facebook stats, by the way? Are they really good for social chefs? Are we seeing that they're super accurate?
I mean, I think they're okay. I always, again, all the stats I ever look at, I mean, I always think that I have to take them with a grain of salt. They're not going to be 100% accurate ever. Like someone's going to log in and they're going to see, well, hey, this number's saying this and this one's saying this.
But why not? Why not? Why can we not expect that a click is a click?
We absolutely should. But the thing is, you have bots, you have lots of, and bots can be a good thing, but you have bots, you have a lot of click farms and whatnot that are taking your data, and all your information and basically just skewing it.
Yeah.
So don't necessarily believe all the stuff you see.
I keep trying to data bot because those are the only girls that seem to be interested in me, is the ones that give automatic replies. And I'm not sure why, but it's really not working. So I don't know. Stephanie, if you've got tips, maybe off camera, you can help me out.
I think Amanda Robinson is trying to build a dating bot. We'll see.
Awesome. Fantastic. So yeah, lots of stuff there though, folks, but just pay attention to this, because this could change the way that you produce content.
Yeah. Because
news is a loose term, and maybe your insight might be news as well.
By the way, Stephanie, to your point real quick, like this was kind of what I was alluding to earlier, which was if Facebook started to work with some of these news stations, for example, what would happen to their Facebook page? I personally think that, like, if they actually can, kind of syndicate that information directly through Facebook, maybe they take down their pages. And I think that might be a good thing for that station.
Yeah.
Because it helps kind of like instead of going on Facebook and like, oh, there's like all of these like sites that I can go visit. Hey, there's one dedicated place that I can go to get this information, and I don't have to like, well, hey, they have this and this other site has this. What's actually correct? Because again, they also skew it towards the audience.
Yeah, I mean, and this is all just so surprising to see this. I mean, when you guys shared this with me, I was like, wow, this is so different from what they were talking about over at Facebook F8, because they were saying that there would be a new community section on the mobile device and it'd be all localized news that you would find there. And your news would pop up and that would be your go-to tab if you just wanted to know what was happening in your community, didn't care about the news feed, just you're either going to your community tab or you're going to your groups tab. Yeah. So it's interesting to see this. And now that it's August, this is popping up.
Definitely. Yeah. And Mike mentions, to your point, Phil, about the Google Knowledge Box, it doesn't always pull up correct answers. So again, clearly something needs to be done to improve this. From a business perspective, what do you guys think is going to happen here? Do you think a business should, if they're producing news, should they try to get should they try to get on the site? Should they try to apply for some of these jobs Facebook's got to, help curate news? What do you think?
I think one more format for news is just problematic, right? That's the first thing I think. I think the second thing is I think about Facebook pages that actually produce content are so small. So many of them just regurgitate the same crap. I mean, I had a conversation this morning where they're like, yeah, well, why don't we get everybody to share the exact same content every time? I'm like, no, why would we do that? Like, that's so like 1993. That's not going to happen, right? So I will stand against that. But it is so difficult because people they don't get it. So I think I'm hopeful that you could maybe set up an RSS feed that then also tags the page of the originator in these so that I still get an opportunity to get some retargeting and I get an opportunity to get some advertising at my people. I don't know. Stephanie, what do you think? Yeah,
I mean, I work with different news organizations here in San Diego. And when we talk about social media, it's so archaic. And I think to bring this and come to a meeting saying, oh yeah, there's going to be this new thing when it's so hard for them to do the basic, I don't know how this is really going to catch on. It's kind of to your point earlier about the whole stories and how you need to give more education.
Yeah, like how do you train a news team to be different again, right? So I like Veronica Corningstone, though. She's still my favorite reporter. I just want you to know. So, Christian, what do you think?
I mean, I would have loved to have seen, like Facebook Live, for example. I would have loved to have seen more news stations, saying, hey, let's have a page for all of our our newscasters. And then when they're on location, they are able to then broadcast directly into the Facebook page, for example. I would have loved to have seen more of that kind of stuff versus, hey, instead they're going to film it. They're going to then do some editing on it, and then they're going to share it on their account. Like, just give it to us live, And I think with this, I mean, there's going to be quite an uphill battle to get this to actually to kind of come to fruition. So
yeah, totally agree.
To get through.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. And now for the news, Brian Fantana. Here we go, right? So a little more Anchorman there. So last bit of news is about Twitter. Of course, we harken back to Anchorman because, frankly, Twitter is harkening us back to Vine. 6-second viewable ad bids, 15 seconds. Jack Dorsey, dude, give us back our old Twitter. We don't need stuff like this. 50, come on. Nobody's watching Twitter anymore. I mean, the only reason anybody's on Twitter is because the president's on Twitter. Let's just be totally honest. I mean, Kim Kardashian doesn't even get naked on Twitter anymore. She's on Instagram. So why not? Why are you? Stephanie, are you still on Twitter?
I'm only there when I get looped into conversations. But I mean, as far as trying to start new conversations, only for conferences. But other than that, it's mostly like if Chris Strubb ever tags you on Twitter, like the whole world is on that thread. Then you can't ignore that. So you got to follow up on that.
Okay. So 6-second viewable ads. I mean, you're the video maven here. Is this good? Is this bad? Or is it like, why should I care?
Honestly, we don't use any Twitter videos for any of our clients. It's not a thing. We don't invest any ad dollars into that. If we're using ad dollars for video ads, it's most likely going to be on Facebook, Instagram stories, and on YouTube pre-roll. Other than that, I mean, Twitter's not even in consideration unless someone wants to convince me as to why.
Wow.
Same exact thing here as well.
Wow.
So, Twitter has some value. Like if you're doing, for instance, Twitter chats and conferences and events, it makes a lot of sense. It's kind of nice to also go there and get the breaking news every once in a while, as a trending topic. But again, I mean, putting your money into that, I think part of it is they still have that stigma associated to them that it's a lot of spam, that it's a lot of bots, and that there's no engagement.
Hold on, I'm going to broadcast some more. Just a second. Hi, I'm really cool. Click on my link. I'm awesome. Hashtag I suck. What do you think? Come on, Jack Dorsey. Get with the program here. 15-second video ad, 6 seconds. So you're only going to bill us if it was viewed for at least 6 seconds. So the good news is this will be yet another not money-making venture because nobody stays on Twitter for more than 6 seconds. So this is not going to work. This is junk. I mean, I get it. I think it's great that they're attempting it, but this is I don't see this being hugely money-making.
Yeah. I'm trying to come up with a use case for why I would be on Twitter for longer than that time. And outside of tweet chats, it's not much of a thing.
Yeah. Well, and to that point though, see that's exactly your point. Inside of a tweet chat, I can totally see then dropping in a video or a 15-second video that's relevant to the tweet chat. But what's going to happen is, it's hashtag Stephanie chat, and we don't know what Stephanie chat is. So therefore, Twitter's just going to drop any old thing, which is likely going to be gambling, tobacco, alcohol, or naked chicks.
You can't advertise on the channel,
right? All the things you can't advertise anywhere else because Twitter is a cesspool. So Jack Dorsey, once again, for bringing back 2005.
And overall, I mean, I'm also, I'm looking at what's here and what's really for starters, Jim over here, Jim Hughes says, hey, nobody uses ads on Twitter. Absolutely. We tend to agree with that. I'm looking at also here that hey, they took a page from YouTube's 6-second bumper ads. But here's the thing, bumper ads make a lot of sense to use them on YouTube videos because, hey, people are there, they're consuming
People
content.
are watching YouTube videos, though. They're not watching anything on Twitter.
No, not at all. Honestly, and I'll be honest, I do watch some videos sometimes on Twitter, and I will watch them only because, for example, if I want to watch some sports highlights, I can't watch them on some of my other channels because they just send me to an article. They don't actually send me to the highlights. So one of the few times that I will actually watch a very short video on Twitter. Also, because then I don't have to worry about buffering or any of that kind of stuff because, hey, it's a very short piece of content. But 15 seconds, and hey, if they watch 6 seconds, you're going to get charged. To me, I'm wondering if it's just some A/B testing they're going to do, decide to kind of fold this in.
So it's a 45-second clip, and 15 seconds of it is advertising. Yeah, that's surely going to win. Come on, no, just no. Jack Dorsey, listen up, dude. At Jack, wrong. Next topic. Yeah, no, thank you. Not going to happen. Sorry.
And
I love Twitter. I love Twitter. I want to be really clear. Every single week, I trash Jack because he has stopped innovating and started going back in time. So give Marty McFly his time machine back. Come on.
Well, I mean, the thing is, they keep adding features that they should have had a long time ago.
That's my point. That's always my point, right? We've got a DeLorean. We don't need to go back in time, Biff. Stop the insanity. Jeez.
So, Twitter, second, viewable video ads or ad bids, at least, you're going to get charged if they're 15 seconds, and if you watch 6 seconds of it, you're going to get charged. So if you're a business, personally, I don't use Twitter ads. Stephanie, you don't use Twitter ads with clients as well. Jim Fuse also says nobody watches video ads. And Phil, same exact sentiment.
So here's the thing, right? If your people are on Twitter, so the 7 of you listening that have your clients on Twitter, give it a try because this could be okay. But for the rest of you, stick to Facebook, stick to Instagram, stick to LinkedIn. That's my advice.
Yeah.
Good points.
So it's my favorite time. It's time we Cabbage Patch. It's time we do the dance. It's time.
Now.
Yep. Well, we are,
Best
right?
game ever.
Somebody probably made an anime GIF out of that, but hey, it's all good.
They did or they did not? Because if they didn't, they should.
They will.
Because I'm just saying.
So I'm gonna let you guys do your dancing. I'm gonna bring
It's
up.
tool time. That's right. Christian, you want to intro this?
So which tool do you want to start with, by the way?
Oh,
We got
so many good tools to start with. So much opportunity. Well, let's start with one called Trash. Let's start with Trash because it's not garbage. You shoot, we edit using AI to make short videos. So this is interesting. I think I like this. I think this is a good opportunity for people like me who are not good at video, who can make video a little bit better, because now you can combine screens by creation date. I mean, it looks like a pretty darn good tool. I don't know. Stephanie, are you using this? Are you thinking about it?
I thought it was very reminiscent of what the Androids have, right? Like, so my husband has an Android phone, and then every time he takes pictures, it'll make this little collage. And with that collage does come the music, which I think is kind of cool. But this looks like it gives you more opportunity to flex your creative muscles and choose which songs you want, choose what text overlays you want. So as far as like making it easy for those folks, again, who don't want to be on camera and maybe just want to make slideshows, like, get this.
Cool.
That could help you out.
Cool. And it's free.
It's a pretty cool app.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. You know, and the part that is really neat about it is that it uses artificial intelligence to pick the best scenes, to pick the music or the effect, like the mood and whatnot.
Wow.
And you can actually go in and you can then make your edits back to the video that's created.
What do they do with the video? Like, are you uploading the video to some cloud and now they have the full video and then the AI scans through it and they're like, oh, this is the best highlight reel. What do they do with the rest of the video?
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I don't know what they're actually doing with that, but
dealing with the Russians, influencing elections.
Actually, this is actually made by the people who actually were at Vine.
Oh, good. Okay. So another harken back to Twitter. Fantastic. So, and
wait, did you read the terms of service? Is this kind of like that one app that went viral and everyone was making themselves all old? They're like, wait a second, my face is going to be on a billboard in Russia.
I'm looking. Oh, look, Vladimir is still in charge of this one. What the heck? I don't know. Christian, what are you trying to do to us here, man? You're going to get us sued here at Social Chatter.
So overall, I think it's actually a pretty cool little app. Yeah. I mean, I think it's very useful. I think that if people, you know, and Stephanie, you and I have we've had some conversations online recently, you know, with people asking, hey, about how do I, you know, do some video editing, for example, you know, what apps do I use or what tools basically. I think that this is a very useful app if somebody is not a video editor. You know, it's going to go and it's going to pick your music. It's going to help pick out the best scenes. It's going to pick out the mood that you're kind of going for. And you can go back and you can actually tweak all of that. And I think that for me is one of the big sellers here. It's a way to get people to create more video without having to sit there behind, you know, the desk and just do all the edits that typically go into a lot of videos, a lot of the polished videos that are out there.
True. Yeah. This is the what's in it for mom. I could totally see my mom doing this because she'll wait for Facebook, because in Facebook you could create your own slideshows and then choose your music and whatnot. And she gets mad if ever Facebook kind of gets buggy and doesn't do it for her. So it's like, Mom, check out Trash. And she's like, Trash?
Yeah, think of the Trash, Mom. That's perfect. What's in it for mom? See, that's what we should say, right? As we think about these apps,
what's in it for mom?
Because it's not just businesses, right? So if businesses use this, I got to think about mom as the consumer, not the creator sometimes. So what's in it for mom is a great one. We're stealing that one, Stephanie. That's good.
Well, and that's actually a really good point. I mean, with this app, I mean, you basically shoot some video, you put it in there. It's not going to sit on your camera roll. That's the good thing. It's not going to sit on your camera roll. And then if I, for example, am a business, for example, I might want to actually have some behind the scenes footage thrown into Trash, for example, to create some additional B-roll that can be shared, with customers. I think that would be a good way to use it. But I think also it could also be a way to get your your customer is not necessarily tech savvy. It could be a way to kind of give them some fun videos that are still, they look pretty polished, but they're not, overly produced.
Awesome. Well, hey, let's pull up the next tool. I think this next tool is really, really slick. So I like captioning video. I think it's important, right? But not only for the hearing impaired, but also because most video is actually watched with the sound off.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's because people watch it during really boring conference calls and conference meetings. That's my guess. Or they do it in the bathroom, which we probably shouldn't talk about here on the show, right? A little potty humor. But this is fascinating, right? This is an interesting app that allows you to add text on videos. It's called Clipomatic. It's $5 though, $4.99. But it's really slick. I mean, I really like the looks of this tool. I haven't purchased it yet, but I will buy it. It looks valuable. And it's just got some different looks to it. I don't know, Stephanie, you're an amazing videographer. What are you going to do with this? Are you thinking about it for $5?
For $5? I mean, if I wanted something quick and easy to do, it looks like it's super easy to work on. My question would be for Christian, because you're pretty savvy with the apps too, is how does this compare to Clips? Because that one's free. So what's the difference with Clipomatic?
Great question, actually. So I think part of it is like you're going to get some additional customizations, 40 plus languages. I think that to me is
the language. The language was the big one I saw too. Yep.
So languages, obviously some different styles. Apple tends to release a lot of apps, and like they've added some features to it, but they kind of don't do some of this. They're very limited from a language perspective. So I think that the language part to me is the big seller, and that's because I could quickly, if I, for instance, can speak multiple languages, could record my my English language one and then go into another language based off of the insights that I see. For example, it could be analytics, it could be if I'm looking on Facebook, my Facebook insights, but kind of see where my audience is at. I could even poll my audience and say, hey, would you like to see additional video content in a different language? Because I think for people that don't do that, they miss the boat. With getting their getting in front of the right viewers and just getting because somebody, for example, if they want to watch the closed captions, but hey, you don't have their language, they might not actually say, hey, I don't watch your videos because I need another language. People might feel embarrassed with that. So I think this could be a useful app from that perspective.
Yeah.
I personally think you can do both.
Yep. So. I think you're right on the money, Christian. I think you made some good points there. The auto translation is something Clips doesn't have. And so I think this is an opportunity, again, if you have an international audience, to use a tool that helps you with captioning that is going to be different. Now, that being said, I wonder if you should do that, like pick your top 5 languages and then just export it differently in each one. But the challenge with that, again, is people who are deaf or hard of hearing are looking for your lips to match your text, right? I have a friend of mine like that, and she said, I get super distracted when she watches some of my videos because I edit it to make sure that it's grammatically correct, even though I don't always talk grammatically correct. She's like, so it doesn't match. So different languages obviously are very, very different.
That's actually a good point. Yeah.
So I think the other thing also we kind of have to keep in mind here is it comes down to what type of video you're making. So if you're making a video that is 3 minutes long, for example, and you're over there speaking and you've got the captions and whatnot coming up, fantastic. But I'm looking at the screenshot here, follow me for more recipes, for example. I could somebody easily record something very short, like a 5-10 second clip, and have it in different languages. And then maybe what you could do is you could actually do some cool stuff and edit all this together. And, and that way it can kind of also introduce to your audience that you aren't just in one particular language. So
that's a cool way to use that. Yeah.
So
really good points, Christian. Lots of good stuff there. So lots of good stuff, folks. If you're looking to make sure you get the recap, Christian's going to recap it, send it out. It'll be at socialchefs.com/daily every single day. You get some good stuff, including this recap. So you can connect with Stephanie, connect with me, connect with Christian, and get some insight there. That's at socialchefs.com/daily for your recap and all the good stuff that we didn't cover, but we needed to.
And we have tons and tons more topics this week. I mean, Phil undersold it. He said, hey, we have 8 topics. Let me see.
It was a long list.
Yeah.
15 topics, seriously, of features that are being tested. Or, for example, Facebook has these movie reminder ads that are coming out as well for different, for people that want to advertise movies and film. We've got, obviously, the Facebook chat device. We didn't even get to Snapchat Spectacles version 3. So lots and lots and lots of updates. So make sure you get those. But Stephanie, by the way, you want to take a couple minutes, maybe tell people what you do, tell viewers what they can learn from you?
Sure, of course.
video. So
Yeah, so I'm also another live streamer. I'm the producer and host behind Lights Camera Live. So I help entrepreneurs shine a spotlight on their business by using social media. So yeah, you can find me over at the Social Media Strategist Facebook group if you want to see what's happening behind the scenes.
So, by the way, your background you have there, is that a real background you have up? Is that a green screen? What do we got going on?
That's a real one. Yeah, that's a real one. When I first started, I was like you. I had like a pop-up screen that I would put up in the background. I love the step and repeat that you have. And then I also even had a green screen. And then finally, when live streaming started to take off, that's when I realized, hey, it's time to invest and step up the studio. So I pushed my desk away from the wall, pushed it in the center of the room, and then started decorating this. So shout out to Target.
Awesome.
Very good, very good. So, as I think Stephanie mentioned, Lights Camera Live. I think everybody can connect with you. What at Hey Stephanie? Is that right?
Yep.
Fantastic. So, any last parting thoughts? I want to thank everybody who tuned in this week. Gave us some fantastic feedback, some insights. Phil, any last parting thoughts?
Well, I want to thank Stephanie. It's always a joy to speak with her. She's wicked smart, and she gives us some great insight and things that we wouldn't have learned otherwise. So, Stephanie, you're the bomb. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys. You guys are always fun.
Stephanie, any tips you want to share with viewers as well? By the way, any quick and dirty tips to if they have a live video issue or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, did you guys cover this before? But now you could actually trim your live videos on Facebook. Yeah. So that's a fun thing to do. Not most people are realizing that. Some people are getting a little creative in the beginnings. Now they're like, yeah, now that I could trim it, I'll just put in my bumper video. So they'll just have that. We'll be starting in 5 minutes. Listen, if you're going to do that, make it at least like 2 minutes or 1 minute. I think anything that's 5 minutes, that's just way too long.
Yeah, that's my whole show, actually. It's an hour of bumper, and it's no me. It's really popular. My mom doesn't even watch it, so it's really good.
And speaking of the trimming at the beginning, is it just the beginning? Can I go and trim some things in the middle and the end?
Yeah, you could trim wherever it is that you want in the show that you want to cut out, which is pretty cool. And someone had asked me, does it degrade the quality of the video? And no. Another person, I think that was you, Christian, where you're asking, does it impact your stats in terms of views and viewers? No, it doesn't. Like your stats still stays the same. The video is just trimmed for the part that you need. Yeah.
Interesting.
And you know how and this maybe you know the answer to this. So you know how you can go and you can edit a comment or a post and whatnot. And there's usually some history there where people can see what it originally looked like. Does that feature also exist if you trim your video?
No, it's not there. But if you do want to go back and take out or revert it back to the original, you can, which is very different from other trimming tools that I've used, like Use Loom Video. Sometimes I'll use that for quick tutorials for clients, but as soon as you trim it, it cuts it off. It's gone forever.
Okay. So basically, as people say, when they trim video, it ends up on the cutting room floor. At this point, you don't have to worry about that because you could just start over. So fantastic. So I want to thank everybody who is watching this week. Again, if you want to get the blog post recap, we'll also have that at socialchefs.com/SC205. But I'm going to take us out here. So thanks a lot for viewing, everyone. We will see you all next Thursday. Actually, we're going to have AJ Wilcox join us, a big link expert. So AJ is a fantastic guest. We have him on quite a bit. So looking forward to having him on. Phil, going to miss you next week. We're going to be stepping in, but should be a fantastic show. But thanks a lot for watching, everyone. We will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.